Hello, my name is Chris Lapadopoulos at Anastasiopoulos. This is Man Free World. I'm going to be reviewing today a little video I found on Peter R. Quinones' channel on the Substack up here with this guy, Ron Dodson, who's the same. He's like 1 year older than me. We're the same age. So I'm seeing eye to eye on a lot of stuff he was talking about. This guy is running hedge funds and stuff. I'm not doing that, but I do see a man-free world ahead, and that this drone issue is not going away. And he made me aware of an issue of why the United States is not going to be a global hegemon with based on the technology, at least based on the technology that they have previous all the big warships and aircraft carriers and things like that. And I just want to share that with you today.
But anyway, these reorderings of the economic system are going to happen, whether you like it or not. And part of what's happening now that Trump and I think his advisors absolutely do see, is that the U.S. Navy is no longer going to be able to police the trades lanes of the world anymore. Because just was it today or yesterday, the Copperhead underwater kamikaze drones were announced by Andrew and and China's working on the same thing. And we all know the advances in the drone system. All that means is, I mean, look at the Houthis have held up the number three commerce zone in the entire world, the Houthis. I mean, the sect of Yemenis, and that's just simply because it's a lot cheaper to build drones and short range ballistic missiles than it used to be. And so the calculus of being able to police this world trade system isn't going to be possible for much longer. And so you're going to see a regionalization, a spheres of influence reality is going to take hold, whether we like it or not. That's just coming because the way it's just going to be easy to blow up ships. Easy, cheap.
Yeah,
And so if that's the case, then you're going to have to onshore. You're going to have to incentivize
right.
onshoring. Whether you believe in all the things that we believe in as a people, of the importance of citizenship and all that, hey, that's a bonus. It's just the reality of the world is you're going to have to shorten supply chains, make them much more
Yeah,
agile and local, because you're not going to be able to have long supply chains. And that's beyond the
correct.
concerns of, hey, do you really want your global competitor to make all your medicine and make all your industrial products?
Mhm.
Those are even bigger, more philosophical questions, and we're on one side of that. But the reality of just how conflict is going to be waged is
Yeah.
driving this as well, and that's why Trump, I think, is also pushing towards the Greenland and the Canadian thing. Is
Right, right. They have to have a. They see this coming. They're obviously, not going to shut down all their programs, but have the jet fighters in the skies and stuff. But they can see this horizon approaching quickly. Especially, I mean, I'm a big fan of the DJI drones. I don't know if you checked them out or if you've seen them, but I own a couple of them, as you've seen on this channel. And the technology is definitely weaponizable. So let's keep going here.
is that you're going to have to increase
And
your
it's
coastline
good.
in order
It's solid. It's not. I got into drones 20 years ago, and they were such garbage, totally manual. It's like, what is this? What is it? And then they got one that had a little bit of the sensor that would, it would drift it all over the place. So, but they fixed all that. They fixed all that. So they can literally throw a switch and just mount guns on these things or explosives or whatever, and they're totally autonomous. And these are just the commercial ones. Yes, they can do EMP and all that stuff for the commercial ones, but as soon as they put a Faraday cage around, weaponize that stuff. Now people are like, oh, I saw one guy was like, well, they could just have this kind of device that would shoot up, and no matter where it was around it, it would blow up in the right. You mean a proximity fuse? The guy was like, oh, I invented a proximity fuse. Like, oh man, the problem with the proximity fuse is you still have to shoot it at something. So these devices are going to be skipping off 2 to 4 inches off the earth. So radar is useless. It's all ground scatter. You won't don't know what's what. And they're coming in at random, and they're coming in, and they're not coming straight line. They're coming zigzag up down. You don't even know which way they're coming. They can come. They can fall out of the sky, hide, crawl. Come on, man. So this is why the United States having a hegemony because of their big battleships and aircraft carriers and all this stuff. There's gonna be a time here within the next 5 years that we're gonna see a like sinking of the aircraft carriers, like maybe a couple of them, to say, okay, this phase of this war thing is gonna be over. Here's a dividing line. Don't go past here with any of your warships. We have this area, you have that area, and we're good, right? Right. And if you go into this area with your ship, you're going to get torpedoed by one of our autonomous drone systems who's got a network out there, and you don't know where they are because they're on the bottom. And you'll be flying, come above, it'll just zip up, and that's it. You're done. You won't even see it coming. Let's go.
have in order to have regional hegemony, that will be a more decades long process perhaps, but all of these realities are changing. How the world has worked. It's like I'm a pilot. I was a F-16 pilot candidate, so I'm
Oh, so he really knows. See, I only previewed a little bit of this talk, but so that's why he knows, because he's an F-16 pilot. He saw the technology ramp up, and then this drone technology. I'm sure he's been keeping up with that. If you're an F-16 pilot and you're not into drones and messing around with that stuff, or RC pilot, you're missing out because you're not seeing how fast it's gone ahead, and yeah, you're no longer going to be necessary. You're actually going to be a liability.
really romanced by a guy wearing a helmet, sitting in a cockpit, shooting down bad guys. But that
Yeah, I
reality's
love
done. I
it.
mean, the last man fighters, we're going to see the end of that. Maybe not in my lifetime, but soon after. I'm 58.
Right about now. Right about now. Once you see the aircraft carriers start to go down, the whole reason why we're building these fighter aircraft, that goes down with it. So there's gonna come a moment that whether it's gonna be kayfabe or not, just to let everybody know that that era of warfare, where we're having big iron in the sea, well, basically where mobile aircraft carriers and using satellites and all that stuff, that's gonna be over. Yeah, it's coming to an
So
end.
let's assume I lived to 80. By the time I'm 80, that world will be over. So
Nah, 65, buddy. Like we got 5 years on this thing, and it's not gonna be. It's gonna. All the China has to do is demonstrate, or Anadril has to demonstrate sinking a Chinese aircraft carrier, and that's it. It's over. No more aircraft carriers. No more of that stuff. Okay, let's get to talking at the table. All that stuff,
and the same thing with how
and they're gonna do it too. Look, they got the where is it? Where is it? Where it is? Right here, the Copperhead. This thing, underwater Kazakami drone. Come on, man. Thing just sits down at the bottom and waits, and just waits for a signal to come through at the low frequency. Drunk reusable missile for mass production. See, this is all new. It's like a couple months ago. This is the DJI style shit. This is the Bolt M. So that they've all perfected all this stuff. It's super weaponizable. That's basically a DJI interface right there. So they're just copying that same stuff. And here's another one. Yeah, this is aesthetic. Yeah, I mean this is 2019, so they've seen this coming for a while. This is what 2024. Another one, another kamikaze drone, cheap to build, cheap to produce, mass produce. Yeah. So the age of big iron in the sea warfare is coming to a close rapidly. Like
naval
I know the next conflict that we're getting geared up for, whether it's Iran or Russia or China, where the frick they're going to be doing one of these energy drills, and it's going to tank their aircraft carriers. They're going to be like, okay, let's talk.
how naval security is handled. So I think a lot of this is driven just by reality,
Yeah,
and you can either be the faction of the real, or you can
right,
live in this fake world of ideology, as
right,
what Plato would say, living in the cave. And shadows don't make very good fighters. Shadows don't make for a good economy.
correct.
You're
Yeah,
talking about
it's been a shadow boxing economy for a while now, which has worked. It's worked, but now it's not working. And it's only worked because America was such a far ahead hegemon, but we're not far ahead anymore. China's caught up. Even whatever the kayfabe population, whatever they think, that it's going to be a tripartite world. China, Russia, and United States. They're the ones that are going to have. We're gonna. This is how we're going to deal with it. And it's not bad. It's just we have to get off our high horse and not be total dicks to each other. I mean, they're still going to have all the nukes, so no one's going to really get out of hand too far. But the whole carrier-based group and no. And China will take back Taiwan. Come on.
bringing
We'll bring all those factories over here and all the refugees over here and all that stuff. I married a Taiwanese girl, so they're all they know it's coming. They know it's coming. So America will not do it. There's aircraft carriers. They will take it to, when the aircraft carriers are no longer a thing. Ooh, how are you going to keep Taiwan? You're not. You're going to have to just do refugees. Chinese like, okay, you don't want to be there anymore? Come over. Do your TSMC over in Arizona or in some coastal city that they get to take on the East Coast or West Coast of probably West Coast, right? Because that's where they'll have more ties. Yeah, that'll probably be a thing.
manufacturing home, which is basically what Trump's been talking about. What a lot of the people that
Taiwanese are cool,
who we're friends with have been talking about. Something. It's one of the only
in
ways
my
that
opinion.
you can truly be a sovereign country.
Right.
I forget who said it. On Somebody said it recently, and basically Litwack laid it out in his book Coup d'etat. Is that if you do not manufacture your own weapons, you're a client state of somebody else.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. But he's what Dodson's talking about is this this technological leap that's going to have to like that the politicians are just not prepared for it, because the people that set the system up that allows them to be all bravado and all that stuff, like, oh God, I'm in charge. And that was their parents that did that, right? And their parents were capable of doing that, but their children or the grandchildren now of those people are not capable of reproducing that. They don't have the technological advantage. They don't have the luck that happened. They don't have the same society. So yeah, so they're gonna have to split the world up, and that's their own fault for being so cocky and wacky and weird and strange, and having odd ideas, and going when saying they're going to go one direction but go in another.
And
Absolutely.
if we don't manufacture our own prescription drugs, if we don't manufacture our own, like Thomas was talking about the other day on a show we did, China has a city where all they do is apples. They
Hmm.
have a city where all they do is produce
Indeed.
socks.
Yep.
Yeah, and so you have all of these things that are being made, and
What I'm hearing is that they're going to have factories that are reconfigurable. So they might be socks one day, they might be furniture the next day, and using this, the 3D printing technologies, not just configuring these at CNC machines with software. So we have the same thing. We have platform as a service and architecture as a service, where you use software to define your servers up on the cloud to run all these systems and scale them up and down and by automatically as the demand changes. Well, that's what they got over there in China too. That's what they're working on. That's what they took the factory technology and they refined it. After building all those factories, they took our factories and put them over there. They rebuilt them all. In that process, they learned a hell of a lot about how to build factories and what they need to do and supply demands and all that stuff from giving producing stuff to America. So now they want to sell that tech. It's going to come back over here. It's just not that. I mean, it's not that hard to like do, but like having people give up the old way and having an impetus to do the new way, like the fact that we're not gonna be able to get Chinese goods. We're gonna be producing most of that stuff domestically. That doesn't mean we're gonna bring back factory workers. All this stuff would be robotized, so you have to be technically savvy just to be in there. So yeah, that's kind of where I see things happening.
other places, chips. Nothing can survive. Nothing can operate without a chip nowadays. None of this technology, all that's made in.
Yes, it can. It's just more expensive, right? That's the thing, is that to be competitive at the prices of other people that are using chips to run their machines, to have a human do it is going to be 10 times to 100 times the expense, so you can't compete. Make that's how It's not that it's not possible, it's just too expensive right now, so that's to compete. So once that becomes not an issue anymore because it's too expensive to get products from China, because we're having a little issues with them and we keep bombing their ships because we want to produce our stuff domestically, and they stopped sending stuff because we were bombing their stuff, and they're like, well, fuck you. We're sending you stuff anymore. It's like, well, that's what we wanted in the first place.
Taiwan. So
Taiwan, yeah, Taiwan
yeah,
Semiconductor.
right. So basically, you're not a sovereign nation if you don't do this. So
Right.
with that
I
out of the
mean,
way, can you talk a little bit about how people make money in this country? And we talked about it a little bit texting the other day. It's all financialization.
It
It's
is.
all, and you
right.
mentioned usury
Well,
earlier.
that's
It's
what it turns
all
into. So that's at the end of this fake capitalist system. If you have a free money printer that started in 1970, well, 1933, whatever. If you have access to a free money printer, smart people are going to try to get as close as possible to the money printer, which is what? The financial systems. Oh, so I mean, come on. So instead of trying to produce products and services and produce stuff, let's go to the financial side because it's free money over there, and all I have to do is to convince these guys to do stuff, and we can just financialize everything because the money's coming from the system, the free money printer, not from the society creating goods and services that can be financialized. And we just get next to the printer, and then we think that that's going to work forever. And it works for a little while, of course, because you have people still trying to run factories and produce services for that same dollar, and they haven't figured out. There's dumb ones. The only thought people are the dumb ones, like dumb enough to keep providing services and goods, whereas the smartest ones are doing rent seeking at the financialization. So that's coming to an end. That will be ending soon because we're going to need more people to produce these things that were once produced in these other countries are going to be produced near shore because of the inability to have shipping lanes that are protected because of these devices. Because of these devices, right? These devices are going to cause the shipping lanes to be constricted. So each country is going to have to deal with their building their own internal factory systems and be self sufficient because they're just not going to allow other people to do trade wars with us. So this is going to turn into a real war, but it's actually going to be a really brief period of time when this is going on because they realize it's a no-win situation, that we both have a new type of nuclear weapon that doesn't leave residue of fallout, but can still take everything out just the same. So it's a new type of nuke. That's the category it's in, and both sides are going to have them. So we're going to have to come to the table again. But this time, we don't have a problem using them, right? Because it's not nukes. Nothing gets destroyed afterwards. We can, if you do a kamikaze torpedo that's on the floor, all you do is sinking the metal to the bottom of the ocean, which can then be retrieved with other drone systems. So we'll just take that, take those raw materials and put them over here, and try to make that stop. So that'll be a thing that'll be going on as well. Let's keep going. Let's see. Let's a few more minutes.
It's all basically manipulation of money, and
Yeah.
Well,
go
the
off on
fake
that.
money
So
that people, the dumb people, haven't figured out that. Well, they're figuring it out. I mean, they can feel it, but they don't know how the words work because, well, that financial markets are pretty. There's a lot of risks there. You got to know the tax rates and you have your the deductions. Did you have a business? Or did you put a little? Did you put capital gains, deferred?
the people live and consume stuff. I know this seems very basic. And one thing we do have going for us is we
It's
have
very basic.
the world's most fertile land and a river system that allows us to transport that around very
Yeah.
easily.
Well, China has
But
that
what
too.
we don't have anymore is we make very little steel. But even worse, if we there's a great
Well, it's not that we can. It was just too expensive. This because we could use slave labor, 10 cents on the dollar, to ship it over to China, and they could do it for us. Then we'll always be friends, right?
video going around last week. We don't make the machines. We don't make the parts in order. Let's say you and I, Pete, wanted to go build a steel mill, either in Alabama or out here south of Dallas. Well, we would have to go to Germany, or I'm trying to remember where, maybe South Korea. I'm trying to remember the places that still build these massive smelting things that allow you to, with tremendous heat, take the ore and make steel with.
So,
We don't even make that stuff. So you're
well,
talking
okay,
about
we'll boot it up again. It's not like it's like a fucking rocket science. Not like didn't have we created it and started it and fucking perfected it. It's not like we can't look it up on the internet and reproduce it. It's not magic. It's not German magic.
a multiple steps where we're dependent
I'll bring all that
upon
stuff back.
other nations in order to even make. So let's say, I don't think this is going to happen, by the way, but let's say China just declared war on us, and we were going to go. First of all, we wouldn't be having this
They
conversation because they
kind
could
of
probably
already
turn off our
have,
lights in
man.
about 30 minutes.
Wait. They kind of already have. I mean, this trade war stuff is like, okay. And they're closing down their society. Same way we're going to be closing down ours. They all got the same. They all know what's happening. They're not stupid. It's just like getting people to adapt and adjust to this new reality where you have these torpedoes running around. This is like, oh, you want a trade war? We'll show you a trade war. We'll show you a fucking trade war.
So let's say, I don't think this is going to happen, by the way, but let's say China just declared war on us, and we were going to go. First of all, we wouldn't be having this conversation because they could probably turn off our lights in about 30 minutes, and we could
Yeah.
probably do somewhat similar, although they have a national firewall and we do not, so it might be a little harder
Well,
for
I
us.
mean,
But let's say we went to war and we wanted to
let's be real honest. We got agents over there too. Let's not really kid ourselves. Come on now. You don't think Chinese have enemies around the world that want to get back at them that wouldn't mind getting a little funding just in case? Oh, you want to do something funny? We can do funny. We can do funny. We all got funny business.
massively mobilize and build a bunch of stuff. Well, you know what? The that would be difficult after about we ran out of a certain amount of inventory that we have. We couldn't do the World War II thing where every auto plant and we just made 8,000 long range bombers and tanks. And
You don't think we can boot that shit up real fast? Well, we can boot it up real fast. But are those technologies going to be effective in the age of AI, automated drone swarms? Nope. Now you're going to have to build factories to boot that stuff up on demand. The drone stuff, but it's not going to be that difficult because, as we've seen, and new drill are doing new mass production of these bastards. The designs aren't. It doesn't take a lot of time. Look, it's most of the stuff is software, and the software has been. They got it figured out. And then even the autonomous stuff, like, you don't need GPS, you don't need inertial navigation, you don't need anything. They can fly these things autonomously. And it's not going to be one or two or five. It's going to be 10,000, 100,000 of these things, just like a swarm of fucking things. Now, it'll only last a few days. And people go, okay. You just took out our capital center and you just murdered our president. Let's go, let's talk.
or whatever it is we wanted to build, big drones. We couldn't do it after a while. And then you mentioned medicine. We don't make the vast majority of our medicines.
We can bring that stuff back. It's not impossible, but we have to have a reason to, right? It has to be worthwhile. And there has to be like a national reason to. And it has to be real obvious to everybody involved. Like, okay, things have changed. Now we can't just rely on the factories in China because they got the AI torpedoes and we got the AI torpedoes and we're having issues. And so we just might as well bring this stuff back. Okay, let's bring it back. Okay, that's just how it goes. This is the phase we're in. Accept it.
That's a real problem. We're just subject. So in the issue of making money, how we do things today. So this really we're subject to what's called Dutch disease, and this is kind of arcane,
What's
but
this?
I'll
I've
try
never
to make
heard
it
this
very simple.
before.
It's named after obviously Holland in the late 60s, I believe it was, might have been early 70s. Some territorial waters of Holland, they found all kinds of natural gas reserves, and within a very short amount of time, the entire economy of Holland, which was traditionally farming, traditionally Europe was part of the breadbasket of Europe was Dutch farmers, but the vast majority of the Dutch economy became all about natural gas. And so their smartest people, instead of going into all these diverse ways that the Dutch provided for,
Like I just said, they were doing that. We had so my example of like the service providers and the manufacturers. Yeah, they all of a sudden this thing became the cash cow, money printer, and also all the smartest people is like, I'm not gonna dig my dirt and get my fingers nails if I can create generational wealth just by using my power instead of this garbage. I go do it over here. What do you think's gonna happen? Come on now.
themselves, all went into natural gas. And so the Dutch disease was this monster that took over the entirety of the Dutch economy. And then
Not monsters. It's the natural thing. It's like if you're gonna allow maximum profits to happen, people are gonna exploit that until they can. Like, come on, man. The rat is gonna press on the cocaine button until he dies. It's just come on. It's just and without any wisdom about maybe things in the past have happened or maybe managing these things different. They can't. That's us humans, man. We maximize. We hit it to the limit. That's how we do it.
when the natural gas reserves kind of went up, they were in trouble, and Holland had a real problem getting out of that. Well, the U.S.
Yeah. We always push it all the way,
has a
man.
similar problem. And
On anything.
and yes, we produce natural gas, and yes, we produce a ton of oil, especially in my state. I'm in Texas, but the real
Word.
export of the United States is the dollar itself. And so, what does
Yeah.
that mean? It means that all the smart people go into finance. Not all,
Right.
but a vast
Right.
majority. What are the instead of going
I just said this. I can't believe you see we're agreeing on this. I'm on target, man.
and being the best at robotics or the best at producing the best chip designers or the best whatever it is, the smartest people go and become hedge fund managers or hedge fund trading
Exactly.
analysts. And
Exactly.
and so and I'm pointing at myself.
If you wanna be smart about making money, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
I mean, I'm part of this. And what you do is you figure out ways. I mean, when I came out of grad school and I went to work for my first hedge fund, my entire job was to look for companies that were producing cool stuff. I would love to tell you that was the case. No, I went and looked for money that was laying around in inefficiencies so that I could arbitrage that out and lever up the arbitrage opportunity.
I knew it. I couldn't figure out. See, I knew this was going on. This was back in the what 80s, 90s when you started doing this stuff. And I figured that was going on because I saw how many people were going that were like seemed to be good, like smart people were going into this stuff and not doing the what I thought was more interesting, this computer stuff. Like I thought it was really interesting, but they were like, "Nah, there's no money in that." Like, okay. I mean, I guess there's more things in life. Mine's like, and they obviously did super better than me because I was like, no, I'm gonna tinker with my little toys. I'm gonna nerd out. I'm gonna nerd out of my stuff. Have a spurk out of my stuff. They're right, and that's what happened. So all the smartest people went into finding where they can fucking find $1 million laying around, as opposed to making $1 million. Which that was the road I went. Which until I figured out that. Well, we got to other story. Let's keep going.
And so, I mean, treasury bonds, for instance, I wrote black box models. This is what this was used to be called. And there were tremendous inefficiencies in the way treasury bond futures were traded because but this was before Greenspan and the Fed really controlled that market. And so, I mean, I had a black box model that was generating for every contract of risk that we put on was producing, and these were $10,000 denominated contracts, were producing $2,000 of income. So you
Oh fuck, he's making 20% on just a money printing glitch. No wonder you're gonna hit that button 10,000 times, and somebody somewhere is losing that 20%. So where's that coming from? Who's getting scammed, man? Who's getting scammed, dude? It's like somebody somewhere is making. All right. You want to hear the rest of his scam stories? You can go. You can go. I'll leave a link to the Pete Quinones show. You may have to be a subscriber for that. Anyway. All right. Well, I guess I will talk to you soon.
The good thing about the American dream is that you can just go to sleep and try it all again the next night.